make friends. I'm here to make money.
I'm only about 2 weeks post-op, so it's more mental than anything. Like, pain is whatever, like we all deal with it. I'm just more like, heartbroken. Was kind of on a roll, was looking forward to a lot of cool opportunities coming up. And for that to get paused while I had just returned to the WWE sucks.
I prayed for this and it happened.
I prayed for this and it happened. Words that kicked off arguably one of the hottest and most personal feuds in all of WWE today, that being between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Two men that seem to be on a collision course to prove who is the pettiest of the petty and who is truly the best in the world. And in this video, we're going to take a look at how this feud came to be. How exactly did Drew McIntyre become the best opponent for CM Punk in his first singles match back on WWE TV? And how exactly is this going to end? Will CM Punk be victorious? Will Drew McIntyre actually go over CM Punk? All that and more is going to be answered right here in this video. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. All right, let's talk about it. So, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, two of the most unlikeliest of rivals in all of WWE today, really in all of professional wrestling. When CM Punk made his triumphant return to WWE back in November, no one really thought that Drew was going to be the consensus #1 person to be Punk's main feud. In fact, people at that point were talking about Drew potentially leaving the company. There had been rumors that his contract was up. There had been speculation that he was unhappy. There was even video evidence of him running out of the ring, running to the back, and reports of him allegedly leaving backstage quite upset at the situation that had unfolded. However, in the months that have followed that, what we have seen is Drew's character has been rejuvenated, and it's thanks all to one man. And really, that man is CM Punk. And CM Punk obviously came through to WWE with a significant amount of baggage from his time in All Elite Wrestling. We have covered that in several different videos in the past. Go check them out if you haven't already. But the general gist of it is that CM Punk was hard to work with in AEW. That led to several fights. That led to several brawls. That led eventually to CM Punk's firing at the hands of AEW president and founder Tony Khan. And a lot of that baggage is stuff you would think WWE wouldn't really play into. WWE is not really known too much to play into things as far as what happened on the indies or what happened in other companies. They may allude to them from time to time. However, actually playing into them for storyline purposes is not something they have traditionally done. Now, there are exceptions to that, but this was a pretty big one because almost immediately after CM Punk came back, we had kind of seen people take shots, and Drew kind of took some subtle shots at Punk online, but all of that really went into a whole nother gear after the Royal Rumble. That was the match where Drew McIntyre gave CM Punk a double arm DDT and somehow tore his tricep. And ever since then, Punk has been out of action. He has not been able to wrestle. He claims that he is soon to be cleared. However, we have not seen him back in a WWE ring in a wrestling capacity since then. And it was almost like fate kind of aligned the stars for this to happen, because the night after the Royal Rumble on Monday Night Raw, when CM Punk and Drew McIntyre had a confrontation, neither man, by the way, was the winner out of the Royal Rumble. That honor, of course, went to the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. But it was almost like this was the best thing to happen to either of them, because we kind of knew that Cody was the consensus pick to win the Rumble. But what were you going to do with the other main eventers that were in there? Main eventers like Punk and Drew. Wisdom would tell you, put them together. And what we saw there was a very petty, angry, pissed off Drew McIntyre. Someone who was playing into the notions of Punk during his time in AEW, that he was difficult to work with, that he was someone who only cared about himself, and that he was someone who didn't belong in WWE. And all of that led to this one now infamous line by Drew: "I prayed for this, and it happened." Drew McIntyre telling CM Punk to his face that he is the reason that Punk is injured. Drew McIntyre telling CM Punk to his face that he wished for this to happen. Drew McIntyre telling CM Punk to his face that he deserves what he got. And in CM Punk that day, ever since then, we have seen an animosity for Drew McIntyre that has only grown as Drew has taken shots after shot after shot at him online, even playing into, again, more things from AEW, ironically enough, having Cry Me a River play in the background, of course, alluding to that now infamous line that Jack Perry uttered at All In Wembley that led to that fight that got Punk fired, absolutely roasting him online, calling him Stan, calling him so many words that I probably shouldn't say in this video, but you get the idea. Drew McIntyre unloaded on CM Punk online and has created one of the best and hottest feuds solely built online, solely built on TikTok and Twitter. And it's gotten out there. People want to see it. This is something now that is undeniable. We have to get CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, and it has to be big time, and it has to have some awesome storytelling elements that I will now provide for you as we get into how the hell this should all happen. All right, so we know that WWE Clash at the Castle, as of this recording, is just around the corner. We know that right now, Drew McIntyre is slated to face Damian Priest for the WWE World's Heavyweight Championship in his home country of Scotland. And it's basically a no-brainer that Drew would win. And I think the result here is a little less important to what happens in the long term. But if you want to go for the highest impact value for this story, I think you do this. At Clash at the Castle, Drew McIntyre comes in as the hometown hero, the hottest babyface in the history of Scotland, the hottest star in wrestling in Scotland history. Sorry, Grado. But regardless, Drew McIntyre comes in there and it is all set and done. Everyone in that building knows that Drew will win. And just as it looks like he's about to do it, he's hit 2 claymores to Damian Priest already in this match. Damian Priest, the champion, is reeling. And just as he's ready to hit likely a 3rd and final claymore kick, he hits the 1, 2, 3, runs at Damian Priest, inadvertently hitting the referee. Referee knocked down, Drew looking in disbelief, and Damian Priest, as Drew turns around, goes for a chokeslam. Drew counters into a running off the ropes claymore kick, covers Priest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No ref in sight. He is knocked down, remember. And Drew begging, pleading, hoping that someone would come out from the back to help, but that another referee would come from the back to finally put that stamp of approval and give Drew McIntyre his moment. That Drew McIntyre will be a WWE World Champion in front of fans for more than just a few minutes. So right as he's begging into the camera, we hear Cult of Personality hit. And CM Punk comes out. Drew McIntyre in that moment forgets exactly where he is. He forgets the breadth and weight of this moment. That right now he has a chance to put Damian Priest away really for good as the referee begins to come to. And he makes a beeline for CM Punk, who takes his arm brace, takes it off, throws it into the crowd, revealing that he is in fact ready to go. And Drew McIntyre runs at Punk. Punk delivers an elbow shot right to the face of McIntyre. Drew McIntyre reeling. Punk beats the ever-living crap out of him. GTS out on the apron, sends him back into the ring to an awaiting Damian Priest, who hits a choke slam. Referee finally comes to. 1, 2, 3, and still WWE World's Heavyweight Champion Damian Priest, as all of the people in the OVO arena absolutely rain boos and likely a lot of other stuff, hopefully not, down onto the ring. They are not happy, and it's going exactly according to plan, because in this moment, Drew McIntyre, the person who has really been the one to make things personal between himself and Punk. Remember, Punk really didn't care too much about Drew at the beginning of this. But now, after months of being dragged online, after months of CM Punk being the butt of Drew McIntyre's joke, Punk kind of also now plays into that persona that many wrestling fans had made him into in AEW. That this is a guy who can't take a joke. That this is a guy who can't take being dragged. That this is a guy who, when the chips are down and he has a chance to ruin a great moment, he's going to do just that. And he comes out on Raw the next night or on Monday, and he says just about as much. Punk claims that, all that stuff I said about this being a new CM Punk, this being a nicer CM Punk, this being, Phil Brooks, I got nothing to worry about, all of that was BS. Because the truth of the matter is, I am an a-hole. I am that guy that everyone likes to talk about online. But I'm also the best in the world. Compared to me, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre hasn't drawn a dime in this business. He's won the belt before, but for how long? He's main evented WrestleMania before, but in front of how many people? All of it pales in comparison to what I, CM Punk, have achieved in professional wrestling. And that is the story we're going to tell. We're going to get angry Phil Brooks, angry CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, who I think has the ability now, we've already been playing into it, might as well just go all in, pardon the pun, and play into it even more. McIntyre should come out in this feud with Punk, cut an impassioned promo about how, before McIntyre was kind of just playing games with Punk. That before, it was all in the business of business. He just wanted to make things interesting. He just wanted to motivate Punk maybe. But at Scotland, at Clash at the Castle, Punk crossed the line. And he crossed someone that you just don't do. And at SummerSlam, in front of tens of thousands of people in Cleveland, Ohio, Drew McIntyre is going to show CM Punk what the Scottish psychopath is truly capable of. And it's not just because Drew McIntyre is doing it to defend his honor. It's not just because Drew McIntyre is doing it to defend himself and the moment and the people of Scotland. It's deeper than that for Drew McIntyre. Because part of the narrative around Punk is true. Drew McIntyre, in his world, sees CM Punk as a cancer. Sees CM Punk as someone who doesn't belong in WWE. Drew McIntyre should come out and say that at SummerSlam, I'm not here to protect a belt. I'm not here to protect my honor. I'm here to protect WWE. I'm here to protect WWE against you, CM Punk. And CM Punk at this point has been playing into it. He's been playing into all of the narratives, as I said before. And you could have Punk come out and say, man, I signed this massive contract. They somehow said yes. And I haven't wrestled a match and I'm getting paid millions. And make Punk the heel here. Like, you have a chance to do something so interesting. Because really, for the last 3 almost years that Punk has been back in pro wrestling, we've only seen him as a happy-go-lucky babyface. We've only seen him come out, wave to the crowd, talk about how great they are, and, do the entire babyface stick. That was really cool when he first came through. That was really cool when Punk was first coming back and everyone was having the honeymoon phase with him. But all of that got stale. And if you're WWE, you want to make this interesting, you want to up the ante, you want to make television better, give us heel CM Punk. Let him play into all the tropes that people talk about him, and let's tell some awesome stories, have some cool promos, and then culminate it all with Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, I quit at SummerSlam. And in that match, I think you have Drew McIntyre, who at that point, you have now built up. He's gone from being the Scottish psychopath, someone who largely for the past year has been a heel, into back into a babyface, and a big time babyface, because at this point he said, you know, unlike Punk, I'm all in. I signed this big contract and I didn't do it just because I wanted the money. I did it because I earned it, and I did it because I chose this company. I bet on myself. I want to make WWE bigger than it's ever been. And the only way to do that is to put CM Punk in his place at SummerSlam, and then we get to the match. Punk versus Drew at SummerSlam. All of this anticipation, all of this hoopla, all of the buildup. And in the end, CM Punk needs to utter the words, I quit. Regardless of how we get there in the match, that should be the result. Because CM Punk has not lost a match really in almost like 10 years at this point. I mean, of course, he's jobbed a few times, but in a big time match, we have not seen CM Punk lose often. And I think if you want to make his character arc interesting in WWE, have him lose his first big singles match. It'll be something that the fans did not see coming. It'll be something that Punk can point back to as a turning point into his story. And it could be a redeeming moment for Drew. Someone who, again, in front of fans, has not held that title for more than a few minutes. Has been kind of screwed out of every opportunity at this point that he's had to have his big moment. And you could give him a moment at SummerSlam, beating the best in the world, proclaiming himself to be the best in the world, and the defender of WWE. You can have the big sword waving around, all that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot of potential for storytelling there if you tell the story this way. But obviously, there's a lot of time between now and SummerSlam, and now whenever Drew McIntyre and Punk happen. Of course, for this, Punk would need to be back by SummerSlam, but I guess we'll see. Let me know in the comment section what you thought of this video. Did you like it? Did you hate it? How would you want to see CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre play out? And if you want to get content just like this early before everyone else and the public does, be sure to go over to patreon.com/Real Take Wrestling to subscribe for $5 a month. And if you like this video and you want daily wrestling news, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Until next time, I'm Omer Q for Real Take Wrestling. Be happy, be healthy, and as always, keep it real.